Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen, to another exciting intentional streaming podcast with my co-host Jarvis.
Heyo, woo,
And myself, Flip. Be sure to hit the like and subscribe button and the bell
hit that bell.
so you get notified when we're going live. First thing we need to address is things have come up, and it will be just Jarvis and I for the time being. We would definitely enjoy having anyone pop in for the week and hang out with us and participate.
What an amazing opportunity that would be, right?
You know, absolutely.
Who wouldn't want to come spend their night with you and I?
Oh, and the dog, of course.
Yep.
So feel free, sign up. You know, we pay big bucks to come and do this. Okay, no, we don't, do we?
No, not at all.
No, not at all. Okay, let's hop into the news and notes real quick here. First one was Amari Cooper traded to Dallas for a first rounder.
Oh boy,
What do you think of that, Jarvis?
When Gruden and the Raiders came out and they said, "Hey, we're willing to shop Amari Cooper, and we were going to want, a first rounder for him." I heard this like collective laugh out of the NFL community far and wide. Are you kidding? Are you dreaming? But then there was the old Jerry Jones sitting there, and he's like, you know what? That sounds fair. We'll go ahead and give up a 2019 first for him. So I have a little mixed feelings on it because, I mean, although I do think that Amari Cooper's a really talented wide receiver, and he's still really young, he just doesn't have the track record for me, to prove that he's worth a first rounder. But, you got a team that desperately needs a number one wide receiver.
Now, I'm gonna take the flip side on this.
And okay,
go ahead and finish what you were.
No. Like, it just kind of along that line is for anybody that's got Amari Cooper out there. I don't know. It'd be tough for me to be excited about it. Because at first breath, you're like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, he's going to go to a place where he's going to be the exclusive number one wide receiver. He's going to get a ton of targets. He's going to get the opportunity. He's going to be the guy. But if you think about it, he just came from that same situation. You know what I mean?
But,
so does this enhance his fantasy value going forward to you? I think it's just kind of like a lateral movement, in my opinion.
I don't think so. I definitely think, there's upward movement here.
Do you think that has anything to do with the fact that Dallas has a solidified run game and that could potentially help him?
Absolutely. That's a very good point. Amari Cooper was a first team or a Pro Bowl selection, both his rookie year and his sophomore year, where he was actually utilized. And then all of a sudden, 48 receptions last year. He didn't even get 50% of the balls thrown to him. Is that on him or is that on Derek Carr? Look at this year.
But that was the Crabtree year, wasn't it?
Yeah, but he had Crabtree before then too.
Mm-hmm.
And
that was like Crabtree's breakout year.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the number two, he was in fact their number one. It seemed like.
So I think it's well worth a first round pick for a Pro Bowl, young wide receiver. Geez, he's only 24. Barely into 24.
And that's what I said. Like, I was shocked when Shannon and I actually had this conversation earlier in this year about Amari Cooper, and he told me he was 24, and I was like, no way. I could have sworn he was like 28. No, he's still super, super young. So he's got a lot of tread left on those tires.
Yeah.
But one thing that I want to discuss, though, real quick, is Mike actually brought up a really good point. Like, how could they justify spending a first rounder on Amari Cooper when you just saw Josh Gordon, who has, in my opinion, far more talent, much more talent than Amari Cooper, go to the Patriots for like a conditional fifth?
Well, that's easy though to deflate that argument.
Just because of the
Josh Gordon's one hot P test away from being banned from the league for life.
But if there's a team out there that's willing to take a chance on troublemakers, it is the Dallas Cowboys, right?
Yeah, well, but look, New England took a chance on Josh Gordon. They don't really hardly have anything invested in the fifth round pick. Gordon's got potential, but what's Josh Gordon's best year? He's not even caught for 1,000 yards, has he?
Well, he has, but the fact of the matter remains is he may have missed more games than he's played.
Okay, yeah, I forget that Josh. Just because that was so long ago.
Exactly,
it's 2013 where he had 1,600 yards, and then garbage. Gordon's got potential, but I really do. I like Amari Cooper better because he's got a longer track record. You don't have to worry about him.
He doesn't have any off-field issues.
No.
He's a good kid. Like I said, he's got a ton of talent. He's just he's a boomer bust at this point.
Well, I think he was just so poorly utilized in Oakland. I mean, that's a guy you could force feed this guy the ball.
You should be able to.
But 5 targets, 3 targets. This is a number one guy that should be seeing that 10 and 12 every week, not one target. Are you kidding me? How does that happen? This is a first round number 1 wide receiver, and it's not like that Jordy Nelson's tearing it up there. He's doing all right. I see where Mike's coming from there, but a guy who is not about ready to get kicked out of the league at any given moment, compared to a guy that's started off his career with 2 Pro Bowls.
Yeah, but I mean, do you think that would they have been better? Okay, you're the Dallas Cowboys fan. Let's just say you're a Dallas Cowboys fan. Would you have rather them make this move or maybe hold off for just a little bit longer and go after a guy like Demaryius Thomas, who's going to be more than likely traded before that October 30th trade deadline?
That's a pretty good point there. With Demaryius is 30. That's and I'm not really sure how the contract situation is with Cooper. Is he under his rookie contract still? Yeah, that I'm not sure. Or is he? Or has he actually signed a new contract with him?
This is his 4th year, right? Mm-hmm. So this should be his final, right? Or am I not? Or am I mistaken?
Unless they renegotiated at some point. So I'm not real sure how that plays out.
Yeah, and this is just gonna be one of those things we just kind of got to wait and see, and look and see how it goes. But like initially for me, I was just like, oh, this is a really good situation for him. But the more I thought about it, I was like, that's kind of just a lateral move. But
Prescott regressed last year because he didn't have anybody to throw to. His rookie year, Prescott wasn't that bad. They had a great running game, both years. But
so he comes in and takes over that Dez Bryant role?
I would certainly think so.
And when Dez Bryant was in that role, how did he do?
Oh, Dez flourished early on, when he was with Dallas. And then I think his wheels just kind of fell off, and his career went with it.
It's kind of crazy to say because this is not a trade whatsoever that I'm like super excited about, but I am really excited to see how it turns out, if that makes sense.
No, that makes perfect sense. I don't think either one of us are big Dallas Cowboy fans, so there's enough of them in the world to go around. Le'Veon Bell still has not reported. He's currently walked away from $6.8 million. That's crazy.
That's insane.
Yes. Every game he misses, that's $855,000 that the Steelers get right back in salary cap.
Yeah, and hasn't reported again this week. So next week, maybe, you think? Or
we were talking about this, a little bit the other night. Lev Bell only has to play in 2 games this year. That's it. There was a lot of people talking that he needed the report by week 11, and play in 6 games, but that's really not the case.
And that was my initial understanding. So I'm glad you set that straight for me.
The other interesting thing with that is the Steelers will have a 2-week, once he reports, they can actually use an exemption on him for 2 weeks where he can practice with the team but can't play. The question is, will he be in shape? Will they actually use that exemption? Will they punish him even more and use that exemption? That's going to be interesting to see.
A little fun fact about that Lev Bell situation. Turns out that Mr. Juju Smith-Schuster went out and purchased 100 Mega Millions tickets in hopes of winning it so they could afford to bring Bell back. But needless to say, that ticket was sold in South Carolina, and that did not work. So they're going to, if they're wanting to get him back, they're going to have to find their money elsewhere.
Yes.
That's kind of funny.
Well, Juju is quite the character.
And he probably found the money for those 100 tickets in his glove box of his car or something like that.
Well, Juju, he was a second-round pick, so
he's got a little money.
He's got a little money. Probably made about $600,000 this year. Pocket change, I guess, for some.
His payday's coming the way he's playing.
Yeah, absolutely. Rashard Matthews signs with the Jets. They are just desperate at wide receiver. I need to backtrack from a few weeks back where I could have swore he signed with the Cardinals.
Yeah, and I followed that up. I actually vetted that, and I saw an article that showed that as well. So I was like, yeah, that seems to be the case. But no, actually not. Rashard Matthews is now a New York Jet. Adding to that team, which they so desperately need some help, that team has been decimated with injuries. And so I think it's a good signing.
I do too. Rashard Matthews has oodles of talent and just fell out of favor in Tennessee for whatever reason. Yeah. And he'll definitely get the shot there if he can prove that he's worthy.
And Mariota, there, I think a lot of that had to do with the fact that Mariota's not much of a deep ball passer. You had a solid run game with DeMarco Murray and Derrick Henry, and then you had Delanie Walker in those short intermediate passes. So, he didn't get a lot of looks down the field. So I think that had a contributing factor. But for the reason, for the sudden and just drastic drop off, I still am kind of baffled at that as well.
Agreed. Maybe I'll let my donkey loving friend here, go over the next one.
Okay, yeah. So this is just a wild story. So, and it doesn't have a ton of fantasy implications, but I feel like it's probably necessary we cover it and just let everybody know that Chad Kelly has been waived from the Broncos today. Over the weekend, the team had a Western themed costume Halloween party. And
was that at Von Miller's?
Yes,
right?
It was a Von Miller party. Later that night, Chad Kelly ended up walking into some random stranger's house that he had no idea who they were. Walked into the house. Homeowner is claiming that the doors were locked, but there's no signs of forcible entry. He walks into the house. He sits down on a couch next to the homeowner's wife and their infant child, whether it's like a young kid or a toddler or a baby or an infant, I'm not sure, but a young child. Wife was panicking. Homeowner comes in, grabs a vacuum attachment, starts beating Chad Kelly in the back out of his house with this vacuum attachment. Cops come pick him up. I guess while he was sitting on the couch, he was mumbling incoherently to himself and
too drunk and just babbling.
But no,
away.
He wasn't drunk.
He wasn't.
No, they got the toxicology reports back from the department, and it showed that he had a 0.00 blood alcohol level.
Really?
So that can only mean one thing: that he was probably doing something else. And that's just too bad. Guy has a ton of talent. Had been given a golden opportunity in Denver. Worked his way up to the number 2. The backup position, and actually there were calls in Denver to bring in Kelly over Keenum. All of that is now all for naught as Chad Kelly has officially been released from Denver. It's going to be interesting to see what we do from here, but Swag Kelly hopefuls out there all are hanging their heads and shrugging their shoulders at this point.
You know, Kelly had issues in college, you know, both on and off the field. So this really could end his NFL career before it even gets started.
Absolutely. I mean, he was kind of given these second chances as a grace, as a, you know, as like a good faith, like, hey, we believe in you, and and that is just it's detrimental because again, he has a ton of talent. So as a Denver Bronco fan, I'm guessing that we're probably going to be targeting a quarterback of some kind, you know, maybe in the next draft this upcoming year.
Yeah. Blake Bortles regains his starting gig as the starting quarterback for the Jaguars. How long is this going to last again? They just do not have any patience with him, and the patience is just worn thin. The other thing is Carlos Hyde was traded to the Jaguars as well.
Yeah, and this trade happened, I think, after our podcast last week or earlier this week. What do you think about that? I mean, that's going to hurt TJ Yeldon owners.
Does it really hurt Fournette if he
comes back?
When he comes back?
I don't know. I just don't know.
Carlos, Hyde has a lot of potential. I believe he is still pretty young as well.
He is, and he's got a lot of talent. He's a little injury prone, but
and I don't know really how is he just a 1 week, 2 week rental? I mean, he comes with a $5 million salary to him.
I didn't see the contract.
Yeah, his contract was still from when Cleveland signed him, and I believe he's making $5 million a year.
Is he going to be a Jag next year?
I want to say that might be a 3 or 4 year contract that he's on.
Wow.
The big thing there though is with him being traded, all his signing bonus money actually stays with Cleveland. So the Jaguars can cut him at any time, and they would be on the hook for none of that guaranteed money. So there'd be no dead money left over. Of course, he's going to stay with the Jags the rest of the year, presumably. So
that was an interesting signing. I feel that there were some other teams out there that he could have probably been a little bit better fit for, but again, who knows?
Yeah, it's a bit baffling. It really is. I was a TJ Yeldon fan before they drafted Fournette, and he's just never gone with the hot. He's never gotten hot there. He's kind of turned into more of a third down guy, a little bit of a filler that's not terrible filler, but not great either.
Mm-hmm.
Not second. I believe he was a second-round pick for the Jags.
So with Carlos Hyde leaving, are you all aboard Nick Chubb's?
Yeah.
Bandwagon or Duke?
Nah, it's
who gets
gonna
the
be
bump?
Chubb. Definitely Chubb. He looked really good. I believe it was it last week that he had a fairly big week?
Yeah, that was the week that he scored 2 touchdowns on 3 carries and over 100 yards.
Oh, yeah. Well, that was 2 weeks ago, wasn't it? So
2 weeks ago.
Maybe they were off last week then. Or maybe I just don't know what the hell I'm talking about.
Uh-oh. Waivers just ran.
Uh-oh. Let's take a look at those.
All right, let's see what we got here.
Jamison Crowder.
Wow.
Boy.
Whoa.
Wow.
Goes to Darky for $387.
Wow. I guess he didn't want to get overbid for him, huh?
Yeah.
Wow. I don't like that.
I mean, there's not a lot of pass catching options in Washington right now, and for some reason I was thinking Crowder was hurt. I could be completely wrong though.
I think he is dinged up as well. I don't know how.
Because going into this last week, I thought it was like all going to be Josh Doxson, but hey, if Crowder's healthy with an Alex Smith I don't mind that.
I mean, it's not terrible. It's definitely not terrible. I really like the Danny Amendola. They don't have anybody healthy right now.
No, and especially with Albert Wilson officially getting put on IR for the rest of the year.
I mean, that's a bit of a chunk of change, but he also had to outbid JJ there at 68. So it's so hard to tell on what to bid. I think everybody struggles with that. I know I do. He dropped your buddy Mark Barron, I see.
Yeah, just exactly what he should do. He should forever sit on that pine.
And then, you with another donkey running back.
Hey, I had
way too much for.
Well, this is I have a lot of fab budget left, and this is going to be a week 8. Tevin Coleman, Melvin Gordon are both out for me, so I'm left with Phillip Lindsay and Royce Freeman. Royce Freeman's banged up with a high ankle sprain, so I don't have another running back, and I think that going against the Chiefs, I think it's going to be a pass-heavy game, a shootout. I see both Phillip Lindsay and Devonta Booker having a role in this game. So, yeah, I spent up a little bit for him.
I like the pickup from Mike here with Tajay Sharp. This is a guy that his rookie year he tore it up and then just fell off the face of the planet. Is he going to...
Oh, look at that. Look right below there. Torrey bid $35.35 for Tajay Sharp, and Mike got him for $43.11. So only outbid him by $8. Yeah. So good job, Mike.
So well worth the price if you're gonna have to outbid. Now he's just got to produce for him. And with the bye weeks in full force, this just shows where people are going to be struggling to pick up players, just to possibly even start.
Oh boy, look at Torrey. Kenyon Barner. That is a fantastic ad. I completely forgot about that guy.
Now, Sonny Michel's out for...
He's out for this week? Yeah, so it's going to be James White and Kenyon Barner this week. That is a great ad, Torrey.
Yep, definitely.
And only $35. Damn, that actually kind of upsets me that I completely forgot about him. Yeah. I could have gotten him for a little bit cheaper, but well done, Torrey. Well done. That's a great ad.
Well played. Ben Watson... I didn't catch.
Could be chasing points a little bit there, but you never know.
I didn't catch his week last week.
He didn't spend a ton. Yeah, he didn't spend a ton on him.
No.
There it is, Mike grabbing the Patriots defense.
Excellent, because they're going up against the Bills this week.
Yep, exactly.
That's stellar.
I wanted to do it, but I just didn't have room to add him.
And he actually had to outbid Torrey there for him.
Here I'm going to call it right now. Mike spent $23.87 on him. The Patriots defense are going to outscore his bid amount. They're going to get more than 23.87 points this week.
We'll see. I'm not too happy with Kroll here.
Oh, he went back. Kroll got Crosby. That's a good ad.
Kroll stealing my kicker that I was in for this week.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I'm down a kicker. My Dallas kicker's on a bye, so I thought maybe I could snag him. I hopefully. Oh, there. Oh no. Now, why didn't that run? That didn't. How did I screw up my waivers?
Uh-oh.
I screwed up my waivers, but I don't know why it didn't run right.
Oh, you didn't get the Broncos defense, did you?
No. Well, I don't understand why. I have to look at that a little more. On maybe I just put in for one kicker this week, so that's my fault there.
Oh, you got the Browns defense. Okay, I see what
so
you did.
Yeah, I actually put in for the Browns because the Broncos were a 1 week wonder. That's what I was doing there. Josh Reynolds, that's an interesting, probably going to a taxi squad.
I would assume probably so. I like the guy. Cooper Kupp's banged up. Do you put him on the taxi? It just depends on Gary's roster. We'd have to look at it, see if he's even got room for him. If not, I would agree. He's probably going to go to the taxi.
I jumped on the Donkeys bandwagon with a
that pick six
with a little. Well, he's actually been scoring all right.
Yeah,
and I kind of have a need.
Get you some of those Broncos. They'll help you out.
I'm thinking, is that Malcolm Brown? Is he a rookie this year?
He's
He had like a
yep.
big preseason game.
Yeah,
too.
and so he's the guy that's in between John Kelly and Todd Gurley.
Oh, it's John Kelly who I'm thinking of.
Yep.
Actually,
I debated. I have John Kelly on my taxi, and I debated on trying to pick up Malcolm Brown, but
gotcha. Okay, I just not familiar.
that's a good taxi squad stash, and only for 5 cents. I really like that.
Alrighty. Well, now that we got the crying and sniveling over with on that part, let's head over to. Let's look at how teams did this week in the standings.
Yeah, so week 7 in the books. We looked back at the scoring, the matchups. Didn't have really very many competitive matches this week, unfortunately. It was kind of everybody that ended up winning kind of won handily. But this week featured 6 different teams that went 2-0. Of those 6, those were Mr. Mike, Kroll, Will, Shannon, and myself.
Boo.
Teams that went 1-1, Tori and Stefan, and then teams that goosed was Flip, JJ, Darky, Gary, and Luke.
And those teams really took a beating this week. JJ still struggling to get back into it. Darky hanging around, Gary hanging around, Luke maybe so, not so much. Myself, that was poor attempt at scoring this past week.
Yeah, and as you can look at those scores again, like there really wasn't a close matchup. Like the closest matchup we had was between Darky and Shannon. It was 142 to 158. So I mean, 16 points was the closest matchup this week.
And that's really still not that close.
Yeah, so it's just a lot of separation. When you look at, we did have a new high point this week.
Boo!
Flip
Soundly.
Yeah.
And that is a new scoring, new high point amount for the league as well for the 3 years.
Yep, I will tip my own hat to myself on that one. Very proud. That was really awesome, especially coming out of the gates as slow as I did. But I ended up putting up 249.21 points this week, setting the new high score so far for the year. Now, it's interesting to look back at the scores, and if you look at Will actually scored really well, like a 220. I don't know if you can pull up his his team, but Will had, there we go. So Will had 220.6 points, and look, he took a gooser from Hayden Hurst,
and he only got 6 out of Smallwood.
Yeah, and 7 out of his kicker. So what could he have scored? If he had a solidified backup, running back that he could have thrown in there, and then a tight end who didn't get hurt. I don't know if he got hurt or not, but I think he only had like 1 target the whole game in Hayden Hurst. So he was definitely on pace.
Well, that he's been hurt off and on the whole year. So I mean, it's not like he had been producing even. He had
two targets. My apologies.
But
back-to-back goosers.
But he hasn't done anything the whole year. That was a pretty big flyer on his part.
Hey, can you go back to that? I didn't notice this. But look at that. Will has started Hayden Hurst 3 consecutive weeks in a row, and he got 1.7, 0, and 0. Does he have another option?
Does he? No. I mean, does he just not have room on his team to? I mean, he could have started Seals Jones.
Didn't he have Tyler Eifert? Isn't he on his IR?
I believe so. And he actually pulled him. Off Seals Jones off his taxi squad.
Yeah, so I think he's probably going to have to make a move.
I mean, that's definitely. Yeah,
he's
sitting on 4 linebackers.
He's an absolute contender this year. So I think that if he wants to help solidify his chances, he's gonna have to be aggressive somewhere and go after a tight end. Not saying you have to go after like the number 1 tight end overall or even a top 5 tight end, but you're gonna have to get something in there.
You can't be getting 5 points out of your tight end. You just can't do that.
No. This week also featured. A low score of Gary, 117.6. However, that does not take over the low point for the year. Darky still has that held down. Week 1 with 110.67 points. So, Gary, you didn't do too well, but at least you're not.
Well, he lost Breda earlier.
And that's just too bad.
Bortles. Kenny Stills got hurt. D.D. Westbrook just isn't relevant.
Just having a bunch of bad luck. And
Hooper, another subpar game. And, Justin Tucker with only 6 points. Come on. That's a guy that gets 20 points, not 6.
Yeah.
And, Barron, ouch. When your defense is your defense is almost the highest scorer on your team, you got issues.
Yeah, it's just a tough week.
Yes, definitely so.
And actually, a kind of a tough year for Gary if we go and look at the standings. I mean, he's been scoring pretty well.
That should get our recording up and going.
Yeah, okay.
Soon find out here whether we're actually recording or not. Sorry, people. Oops, that's not what I wanted. I want this. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, we're still live. Okay.
Are we?
Yeah.
Hey, all right.
Sorry about that. I kind of hit a obviously the wrong button on my computer there. Unfortunately my power key on my keyboard is just in a really inconvenient spot. So hopefully we're still recording. Okay.
Wow, that had me nervous there for a little bit.
Yeah, me too. Once when the blue screen came up, I knew exactly what had just happened. So on that note,
yeah. So anyway, I was saying, Gary hasn't been scoring all that horrible. He's just kind of run up against some tough matchups. But as we look at our standings through week 7 so far in Division 1, we got Kroll sitting at the top of the leaderboard there in Division 1 at 8-5. Flip right behind him at 7-6. Mike, 6-7, stringing together 4 consecutive wins in a row, climbing that ladder. Well done, Mike. And then Gary down there at 3-10. Again, not out of it. Has a good team, just running into some issues a little bit right now. So we look down at Division 2. Will's got a good team. Will at 10-3. Shannon coming in at 8-5, still solidified there at number 2 position in Division 2. Then we got Darky at 6-7, and then Luke still at 1-12. We follow down to Division 3, the tight race between Shannon and I, myself, top of the leaderboard 11-2. Both of us 11-2. The only reason I'm ahead of him right now is year-to-date points. So that's going to be a fun one between Shannon and I for the rest, or Stefan, between Stefan and I for the rest of the year. Then Tori at 5-8 and Luke at 2-11. If the playoffs were to start today, the number 1 overall seed would actually be myself as the division winner in Division 3. Again, just solely based off of points because we both have the same record. Seed number 2 would be Will, and then 3 would be Kroll. The 4th seed would go to Stefan based on the record and points. Well, he would be the next one with the best record. And then, Shannon, he would be in at that 5th seed with an 8-5 record. And then Flip.
Oh, boy.
You're still in it at the 6th seed based off of points.
Yeah, and looking at that being at 1248 and only one game over 500, geez, I have a 70-point lead on Shannon, and he's got a win on me there. And you look at that 1248. Yeah, we're getting some separation there. Mike's got a big road to travel, just because of being so far back in points. But he's only 2 games out of the division lead.
Yeah, so he could definitely get in based off of record.
Yeah. So
just nullify the points.
You know, that's where points, you know, where total points, they don't matter.
And Mike's doing it with a banged up Dalvin Cook who hasn't been doing anything. Dalvin Cook comes back and starts playing. Mike's a team to look out for.
Absolutely. And Mike's a pretty good team manager as well.
Yeah.
You know,
he could be the New York Giants, you know, of fantasy football.
And you know,
they just get hot at the right time of the year.
And the same thing with Darky there. It's 6-7. You know, he's only, you know, 2 games behind 5th place right now. You know, yeah, he's a ton of points, but he's right there. Then you have Torrey down here. You know, another bad luck. 5-8 with 1134. You know, he's 100 points up on Darky, but you know, 1 win behind him. You know, he's 1 win behind Mike even, and he's only two wins behind me, and you know, just over a little over 100 points. So there is, I would say, yeah, Luke and JJ, yeah, are definitely struggling and really starting to look on the outside. You know, losing 9 in a row, 7 in a row during the bye weeks, you just can't do that. You know, Mike making the big move, Kroll with the 3 wins, Will with his depth, 5 wins. It's just gonna get more and more exciting with the bye weeks. You know, week 8's a big bye week.
Week 8, week 9, week 10, week 11. Yeah, big time bye weeks.
Yes.
Just real fast, I had Kroll reached out to us and said that he can hear us just fine. They just have no video.
They still don't have video?
Right.
Really? Oh. Okay, let me see.
Thank you, Kroll. I appreciate your heads up on that.
With the bye weeks. You know, week 8's a big bye week. Whoops. I can hear myself. Yep. That's not good. Video output low. That's probably not a good thing, is it?
Oh, stream health is red.
Okay. Oh, you know, I have no idea how to fix that. Sorry to tell you. I'm going to try to stop it and then start it, I guess. I don't think that's going to fix it. I have no idea why that's...
Something happened when...
Yeah. And Sorry, it's actually... Yeah, I see what it is. It's actually my OBS. This is what we used to record with, and that's not showing up. We could try something fun. We could stop it and then restart. You want to try that?
I'm game.
No. Yeah, it's not shooting the video, it looks like. And I just don't know.
Oh, we can just finish it up.
Sorry, guys.
With just audio only. Yeah, I apologize, guys.
We'll we still got a ton to go over. That's the worst part.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. We will do better next week, and I'll keep my finger off the damn power button.
Unless you want to try to just kill it and start it over from scratch, do you think that would work?
Yeah, let's just kill it, and
because we're gonna go over those matchups and
let's just kill it, and we'll come right back.